Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a 2013 Subaru BRZ, or BRZ, depending on if you come from Canada, the UK, US, or wherever, really. Here in Japan, I actually don't know. I think they pronounce it BRZ here in Japan. Could be wrong about that. Usually the Z, here's your Japanese lesson, usually Z in Japan is pronounced Z, or Z is pronounced Z, like Fair Lady Z is Fair Lady Zeddo. Okay? Anyway, this one here, we're taking a look at it. It's a post-purchase auction inspection. This one's going over to Aruba, and this is my first time getting up close and personal with one of these cars as an actual sale. I did take a good look at them when they very first became available for sale, but this is the first one that we bought for the company. Okay, so let's first off start the report here by turning the engine off, and then we'll watch the rest of it with the engine off. You can hear the direct injection system in the engine. It's making a little bit of a ticking sound. That is normal. Okay, so oh geez, I don't even know the engine code of this. It is not an EJ20. It's a 2-liter boxer engine. I think it's an FJ20 engine. Naturally aspirated, and then the boxer engine, one of the unique parts about it is that the cylinders go sideways. So your crankshaft is right here in the middle, and 2 pistons go like this, and 2 pistons go like this on this side. This leads you to have a very low engine, which allows you to have a very low hood line on the car. And most modern cars can't have a low hood line because there has to be a certain distance between the hood and the engine for pedestrian safety reasons, and so it is kind of a unique thing. It may be a little bit of a pain to change the spark plugs. They are on a Subaru, on a Subaru Impreza, a little bit easier than this. I don't know why they put this here, because it kind of gets in the way, but apparently you can do it without taking the engine out, but you need to have a lot of extensions and swivel bits and stuff like that, is what I've heard. Now, luckily, the oil filter is very easy to change to compensate for that. And then you also have an alternator that's pretty easy right there on the top. So, interesting. Oil and coolant on this car looks fine. It has original tower braces that go from the tower to the firewall, which is very cool. Okay, the engine puts out somewhere around 200 horsepower. I believe it's exactly 200. From the 2-liter, and a lot of people were complaining that they wanted more power, but I have to say I'm definitely not in that camp. I really like the low-powered, fun Japanese sports cars. Everyone loves the 90s cars. Everyone likes Civic Type Rs. This is a small, light-ish weight, rear-wheel drive, low-powered car, and it's going to be a lot more fun than a high-powered car, which is just going to get you into trouble or extra legal speeds very quickly. This one's a little bit more fun to play with. Not a little bit more fun. It's going to be a lot more fun to play with on the street, shifting through the 6-speed manual transmission and enjoying the engine. Yeah. I also must say, Max, our editor, owns one of these in Germany. He still hasn't sold it. He probably should and buy one in Japan if he really liked it. And so he knows a lot about this, and he's going to be watching this video, and he's going to be saying, Derek, you got it all wrong. So hopefully that's not me getting it all wrong. Lower the hood. It is an alloy hood, or an aluminum hood, I guess you could say. And here's a quick look at the car. It looks great with the aftermarket rear wing. It is original wheels, and I think the front bumper is original. I remember when they first came out, you could tell the difference between the Subaru version and the Toyota version, because the Subaru was happy and the Toyota was sad. And that was really it. Oh, and the badges, of course. I really don't know what else is different. I know in the next generation of it, there are some subtle differences in suspension and stuff like that. I really don't know otherwise. I think maybe interior is a bit different. I must say, though, whether it be the Subaru version or the Toyota version, they're all built in the same factory, and the car has a Subaru feeling to it. It is not a Toyota feeling car. This absolutely feels like a Subaru. Look, it's the hiking gang hiking up the mountain with their backpacks on. Okay, auction inspection sheet. This one comes from 2013 BRZ 2-door. It's the S trim level. Auction grade 3.5, interior grade B, and exterior grade C. 93,058 kilometers, original 6-speed manual transmission, AC, power steering, power windows, airbag, ABS, and alloy wheels. This was a dealer trade-in. Has digital TV tuner on it with a reverse camera, push start, VSC, which is basically traction control. And then it says front seat heaters, which may have been an option on the S version or something like that. It also has a Momo steering wheel, so therefore no airbag. Okay, and the report here says lower support dented. Now the lower support dented at the same time as they garbled up the front bumper. Have a look. It is no longer attaching properly. It did have some tape there. The markers here are loose. They will pop out. You also have some scuffs down here. Okay, but it gets worse as you go along. There are scuffs there. But then a section of the front bumper is cracked and falling off. Right there. With some big scrapes. It looks like this person had hit something. It wasn't a huge hit because it only looks like cosmetic damages on the front bumper, but quite a bit of damage. And then the lower support, which is a frame support underneath here, right there, apparently is dented. Now I've taken a look at it. It doesn't look like it's really causing any troubles. Okay. But yeah, this front bumper either needs to be replaced or repaired. And I'm not really sure how you can repair a polyurethane bumper. I know a fiberglass one can be repaired with fiberglass or resin, sanding and whatnot. If it's like this, I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments knows. Okay, so door mirror is scratched, trim is dirty, exterior very scratches and dents. It's actually pretty good aside from that, and the rear bumper also has some damage, but more on that in a second. All wheels are scratched, seat dirty and wear, headliner is dirty, trunk interior trim is dirty, windshield rock chip, steering wheel grip wear, floor carpet dirty. Okay, and then on here we have a repainted panel, repainted. So all this side has been repainted, which is this side. It looks like the repaint was done fine though. I'm happy with that. There's a U2 dent here, which is medium, foggy headlights. Front bumpers A3 and D2. D2 is medium cracks. They also called the rear D2, but I think it's more like a D1. Okay, and then A3 on the rear bumper as well. Okay, so let's take you for a tour around it. I think that this color looks very similar to the WR Blue. I don't know if it is, but there's the WR Blue if you want to take a look at it. Is it the same color? It looks very similar. It might have a different name. Sometimes manufacturers will have the exact same color with multiple names, like 3 or 4 different names. Okay, the rear wing. I had Max and Grant in the office look this up. Apparently the rear wing is S-Craft brand. And then the rear spat piece or diffuser area, this is from Rowan. I was checking on my phone. That's why I might have sounded a little bit weird. Like, what am I talking about? I do like the rear wing. I think it's nice and aggressive, and I think a big wing looks great on pretty much every car. I would love to have Mike put a big rear wing onto his new AMG, and he thinks that's a good idea too. Okay, short wheelbase, popular in racing here in Japan. I don't know if it's popular in drifting, I guess a little bit. The S-chassis cars and the JZX cars are still the go-to cars here in Japan, but they will run out. And this, I suppose, is going to be one of the handful of cars, this and the Fairlady, that you can get into drifting at a cheaper price than the X chassis or the S chassis. Okay, so looking at details now, I already talked about the bumper, but just showing that it is also misaligned at both of your attachment points. And this is the style of modern bumpers, and I hate it. It seems like a little bump, and they fall out. And then you can't push them back in because it just keeps popping back out. An old bumper is on with a screw, and I think that's a lot easier to manage. Okay, foggy headlights, yes, but these headlights should be easy to find. These ones also have like an illuminated section on them. I guess it's the late model headlights. And of course you could restore these ones if you wanted to. Now the owner also had a thing for accessories. There's this carbon fiber insert piece, which doesn't really do anything other than look cool, which admittedly it does look cool, but for some reason there's a hole that's been drilled in it. Not sure why you would do that. Okay. He also put his vinyl wrap underneath the headlights, and I think that needs to come off. The vinyl has disintegrated, or the sun has damaged it, and so it's no longer in super good condition. Same thing goes over here. And it looks like these have lights in them, but I couldn't find a way to turn them on. But that definitely looks like an LED strip in there. And it says Combattante, which is probably a made-up word. But yeah, all of this is like fake carbon wrap, and it's all peeling and gross. Okay. Coming down here, this is the repainted panel. It looks fine. Door handles have like a carbon fiber stickers on them. It looks like it's real carbon fiber, but the paint is peeling a lot. That's unfortunately the name of the game with aftermarket accessories these days, is that they just don't last a long time, because to make them high quality would cost more money, and then everybody needs to be rich these days. And so, nope, service goes out the window, quality goes out the window. As long as we can sell something, it doesn't matter the quality. Sorry, don't need to be complaining about that. There's a dented section right here, and a scratched section right there. Okay, this person is proud of Boxer, which might sound a little bit weird, but that's the catchphrase for Subaru here in Japan. Also, take a look at this. Shizuoka Subaru first. I don't really know what that means, but it looks like you could plug in these sides onto this side to make your little Boxer logo with whatever you like. So this person likes cameras and tools. Okay. I do really like the rear diffuser. I like a big rear diffuser, big pipes. These isn't a loud exhaust, considering it's aftermarket. And then the D section, well, there's a paint cracks here and here. And then there's actual cracks in this section here, along with scuffs. Okay, have a feeling like most of this damage happened from the same bad decision, and it was just one bad decision. And then the rear wing, nice and tall. It also has a spoiler underneath. So wing on the top and a lip spoiler here. I suspect that this spoiler is actually at least somewhat functional. It is a little bit loose in the blade though. And I don't think it's actually an adjustable spoiler, so it shouldn't be doing that. If it were adjustable, you would probably see a few different adjustment points here. And you would see on the underside like some sort of a little I don't know, slidable section. Okay, the dent on this side is right here. This was the U2 dent. Okay, and some more peeling there. The rest of this panel is all good, except for this piece here is also having the same paint fading stuff. Okay, now I did get to drive one of these, but it was a really long time ago, so I don't know exactly how it drives. Plus, it was like at a Toyota dealer. I just went there and said, hey, can I drive your car? And he was like, okay. And then I was surprised, and then I drove it. But because he was sitting in the car with me, I don't actually know how it is to drive. It was also an automatic. I suspect it's good. Open. Inside, it doesn't feel very high quality. Plastics are cheap, and I can live with cheap plastics. That's fine if you can get the other things that you want. Small, lightweight sports cars are either extremely expensive with average interiors, or they're cheap with cheap interiors. And that's fine. You buy something like this for the driving pleasure or the looks. And when I talk about the cheap interior, it's just, it feels a little bit, yeah. Same thing goes with like buttons and switches. It's not the worst. It also feels to me a little bit claustrophobic. Like this dashboard is too close. If it were back like 10 centimeters back, I think it would give you a lot more of a, like, I don't know, an airy feeling cabin. This feels tight. Some people like tight. Maybe Toyota / Subaru both knew that a tight interior can make it feel a little bit jet cockpity. Is that a word? Don't know. A little bit of glue substance on there. Looks like you get 2 speakers up there. You don't get any sound piped in from the exhaust like many of the modern cars, including the replacement of this, I think, has fake sounds coming from somewhere. The pedals are good, correct amount of pedals. It really needs a cleaning, as you can see. The steering wheel also, because it's spaced closer to you, I quite like that, but it makes it feel, again, a little bit claustrophobic. The gauge set here, I love a car that they put the tachometer in the center. That was probably Subaru that did that, because Subaru's been doing that for a long time. You get these, which are nice. You can put them in different positions, but you only get one round one here, and then you get these ones up here, which I must say are a little bit weird looking in that they only have one flap to point the direction of the flow, which I guess is good because it's pretty common for flaps to break off on older Japanese cars. Okay, the shifter feels good. It feels very Subaru-like. Everything, it just reminds me of the Subaru in here. This kind of plastic is like the same plastic that's in the GDB. This is a little bit strange. You can take this out. It's like a face. Look. Hey guys, put cups in my eyes. Yeah. And yeah, shifting. And just like the GDB, pull that up to get into gear. The GDB is oddly over here though. Different location. Okay, and then the rear seats. Kind of a joke. Like, this is the seat in my current position. And from the back cushion to the end, you have 3 centimeters. So, I don't know. If in emergency and the passenger has their seat way up forward, you can probably fit into the back. But it's otherwise basically just a 4-seater in name only. You can put bags and stuff back there, which is quite nice, admittedly. It's good to have a place inside the cabin to put bags, especially since the trunk is very small. I was surprised how small the trunk was. And I don't know if I would be happy living with this if it was my only car because of that. So if you had another car for bigger trips, probably fine. Because it's a 2-door coupe, easy to get into the back. Or if you're a young person, don't need to go on big trips. Don't have a family, it's probably good. Oh yeah, even just getting into here is a little hard. And the seats are pretty low in the back and high in the front, so kind of a weird feeling inside. Also not side bolstered, which you think they would be in a sports car like this. Okay, so if the passenger has no footroom, you can actually manage here pretty easily. And it looks like you got a little flap here to pull to move the seat forward. Still, in and out is harder than most, like 2 doors. The roof is fairly low. The sills are kind of high. Not really the car for somebody who needs the space. That's what the Volkswagen Golf is for. Or the GR Yaris, or GR Corolla possibly. This flips up really wide, which is nice that it does, but the opening is rather, like, small. So even though it goes back a ways, this is the undercover from the front that's all garbled up. Even though it goes back a ways, you can only fit in here something that can fit in here. And it's not very high here, and it's not very deep here. So it's kind of like you struggle to put anything in there like a suitcase. And then the floor is not that low. So underneath here, it doesn't even have a spare tire. It has a circle as if there should be a spare tire, but there isn't one. And so if you took all of that stuff out, you could have more space in there, but then you wouldn't have any carpet. It's kind of weird. Maybe the car does come with an optional spare tire for some countries maybe, so they needed to make it so that it could fit one in there. But if they just made all of that foam go away, you would have a much nicer trunk. You'd still have the issue of the trunk not being the correct size to put things in. But, yeah, strange. Maybe it's crash protection. It is made out of a high-impact foam. Okay, So we are done here. It's very interesting to see this. I really wouldn't mind having this as a race car. It would make a reasonably priced, especially at this age, car that you could take onto a track, and modification potential is pretty high. It can be a cool little runabout car. There's somebody trying to get by, so I'll just move over here. This one just needs a little bit of cleaning on the inside, and the front and rear bumper need a little bit of work, but otherwise it's actually pretty good and doesn't seem to have any mechanical issues. I spoke too much about this one. This video absolutely shouldn't have been 20 minutes, but if you lasted all the way down here, maybe you're actually asleep. If you are asleep right now, wake up and send me a note in the comments saying that, hey, whoa, I woke up. Hey, thanks for the video, or something like that. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching, and have a nice day.